Good afternoon and welcome to today's session. We are going to be learning about self-care techniques for parents. There are 4 more sessions which will be happening over the next couple of weeks on the same day and time. So please be sure to join us for those. If you have not already done so, please register at ATTCH So what is self-care? Self-care is caring for ourselves from the inside out, and it emphasizes the active role people play in maintaining their own well-being. When we pay attention to our thoughts and our feelings, it translates into how we interact with others and also positively influences our health. These days, as a result of the pandemic, people are facing new realities of working from home, temporary unemployment, homeschooling of children, and lack of physical contact with extended family, friends, and colleagues. Because of this, people are likely to develop a wide range of symptoms of psychological stress and disorders, including low mood, insomnia, stress, anxiety, anger, irritability, emotional exhaustion, depression, and post-traumatic stress symptoms. In particular, low mood and irritability are very common. However, getting involved in self-care activities as part of daily practice can help us manage stress and prevent difficulties and symptoms of health problems. So later on in today's session, we are going to get into activities we could do to optimize psychological well-being. Good self-care also includes caring for our bodies through proper nutrition, adequate exercise, and sleep. Evidence from research shows that this has a direct and positive impact on our mood, thoughts, and feelings. How does self-care influence parenting? The ultimate goal of self-care is to enhance our coping skills with appropriate techniques which would make us resilient and capable of successfully managing difficult emotions that come with new or challenging situations. Learning effective techniques and coping skills to calm the limbic system, which is the seat of the emotional brain, is instrumental to experiencing less anxiety and stress from the world around us. We have wired into our bodies skills to keep us even keel. 80% of the fibers of the vagus nerve, which is the nerve that connects the brain to many internal organs, 80% are afferent. So they move away from the body to the brain. This means we can control our level of arousal by how we breathe, sing, chant, or move. I think it's important to always remember that each person wears different hats throughout the day. We're parents, professionals, students, spouses, siblings, and so on. How we self-care affects our level of satisfaction in the different roles we play daily. Caring for ourselves on the inside means exercising self-compassion. It means motivating yourself with kindness instead of criticism. Richard Schwartz, who developed the internal family systems model of therapy, has done 30 years of work on self-leadership, the internal landscape, and the different facets of ourselves, including the inner critic. The inner critic can motivate, but could also be destructive and punishing. The positive intention of the inner critic is to motivate us to achieve, to look good, to be tough, so as to avoid being rejected or hurt. The downside of the inner critic is that it needs a steady stream of accolades to be complacent or satisfied. In other words, there's no room for self-compassion. Exercising self-compassion means becoming familiar with the different parts of us that we like and those that we do not like. So the vulnerable, the entitled, frightened, scared, and so on. When we know, understand, and forgive our inner selves, it makes us better, kinder, more compassionate. Part of understanding ourselves is recognizing the positive intentions of the most critical and troublesome of our inner selves. As parents, we may often be overwhelmed by the different roles we have to play and may find that we have rolling thoughts and emotions that are critical. We will do an exercise in a little while that is a meditation exercise and will help us remain separate from rolling thoughts and emotions and be peaceful and accepting. So right now, with the ongoing pandemic, feelings of anxiety are being experienced daily by so many. When we're anxious, it negatively affects the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, the DLPFC, which is the part of the brain responsible for our thinking and our planning. When the DLPFC is affected, our working memory is impaired. And so our ability to, for instance, take a mental note of grocery items to pick up from the store just a few minutes before going in, that's affected. What mindfulness does is it increases the activation of the prefrontal cortex and decreases the activation of structures like the amygdala, which trigger emotional responses. So what ends up happening once the prefrontal cortex is engaged is that our control over the emotional brain increases. In sum, it's important to understand how our thoughts, our feelings, unresolved or leftover issues may be impacting us, and to take steps to calm down the emotional brain so we can engage effectively with the world in all the roles that we play. So right now I'm going to read an excerpt from a book titled Parenting from the Inside Out, and it is by Daniel Siegel and Mary Hartzell. I'll be reading from page 157. It portrays what I think is a good example of how the emotional brain can dominate in our daily interactions. So imagine that you are a 3.5-year-old boy enjoying an outing at the park with your mother, who has been playing with you and delighting in your exploration of the playground equipment. You are feeling loved and valued. She tells you that it is time to go just as you are climbing up the ladder to the slide. One of your mother's friends walks by and they begin a conversation. After several more trips down the slide, your mother is still talking, and you head for the jungle gym and manage to reach the top, where you proudly wave to your mother. She looks up at you, then at her watch, and becomes instantly furious because she is now late for an appointment. She screams at you to calm down this instant. She's shaking her finger at you, and her face looks very angry. And you wonder what happened to the mom that was enjoying being with you just a short time ago. Not wanting to connect with the mad mom, you slide down the pole and hide in the crawl-through tunnel. Your mother reaches in and pulls you by your arm, yanking it hard and hurting you. Her voice and facial expressions have moved from anger to fury, and she continues berating you for being such a bad boy and not listening. You start to cry and try to push her away from you. Her anger intensifies as she continues to yell at you for hitting her. She pulls you out of the tunnel and, ignoring your tears, hurries toward the car, still yelling at you. So a challenge to our parenting ability is the low road, as exemplified in the excerpt I just read. The low mode processing involves the shutting down of the higher processes of mind and the prefrontal cortex that controls it. Instead, what researchers term the low processes of mind are engaged when a person is on the low road. Low mode processing is controlled by the emotional brain, and when the limbic system is online and dominates behavior, the individual is in a state where they experience intense emotions, impulsive reactions, rigid and repetitive responses, lack of self-reflection, and the ability to consider another person's point of view. So the approach to self-care needs to be three-pronged. The first is to take charge of your mental health. A popular technique that supports good coping skills for parents is mindfulness practice. Many of these practices don't take a lot of time. There are 9 popular types of mindfulness meditation techniques that I will talk about a bit more. Grounding techniques is another way we can calm down, become clear-headed, and better able to deal with presenting challenges. It's also important to prioritize time for yourself. And third, we need to stick to the plan. A way to do this is to be consistent, to consistently share our plan with family so they can support us in sticking with the routine. Pair up with a friend who will be able to keep us accountable. So the most popular mindfulness practice is mindfulness meditation. So mindfulness meditation originates from Buddhist teachings and is the most popular meditation technique in the West. So in mindfulness meditation, you pay attention to your thoughts as they pass through your mind. You don't judge the thoughts or become involved with them. You simply observe and take note of any patterns. This type of meditation is good for people who don't have a teacher to guide them, as it can be very easily practiced alone. Spiritual meditation is used in Eastern religions such as Hinduism and DOYOUism, and also in the Christian faith. It's similar to prayer in that you reflect on the silence around you and seek a deeper connection with your God or universe. Essential oils like sage and myrrh are commonly used to heighten the spiritual experience. And I'm just going to list the rest of these. You have focused meditation, movement, mantra, transcendental, progressive relaxation, body scan meditation, loving kindness meditation, and visualization meditation. Here are some grounding techniques that you could try anytime you feel overwhelmed and by emotion. These work quickly and can create an emotional shift by engaging the prefrontal cortex, which will in turn help us feel calmer and in control. There are resources that are available to the public, which you could use to help calm your mind. Again, they engage the prefrontal cortex, which is the thinking and planning part of our brain. Here are just a few. And again, these are available as apps. So you have the Stincturation binaural beats. Stincturation is a meditation tool that uses binaural sounds, brain entrainment, and 3D technology, 3D sound technology. There's also Sound Through Mindfulness Daily as well. And that's an in-depth training in the essential practices of mindfulness and compassion. So in less than 15 minutes a day, you'll receive a lesson and guided practice taught by meditation teachers Jack Kornfield and Tara Brach. Last, you have Calm. Calm is the #1 app for sleep, meditation, and relaxation. It has over 100 million downloads. With this app, you could listen to music to help you relax, focus, or sleep. There are nature scenes and sounds to enjoy while you're relaxing, sleeping, working, or studying. There are video lessons on mindful movement and gentle stretching. They also have audio programs taught by mindfulness experts. And all of these work together to help you get more restful sleep and to wake up refreshed.